And the Oscar goes to... Mimi, you were right. Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
Sony's Spiderverse series has breathed new life into both the superhero and animation industry. In a time where we're oversaturated with superhero origins, multiversal storylines, and intergalactic dilemmas, these films have found a way to navigate them all in cool fashion. We usually see studios afraid to retool the story of classic characters, especially ones like Peter Parker, whose origin's been told 3 separate times in 2 decades. Worst of all, audiences are perceived, at least by studio executives, to want the same old things. Yet, despite being new to the fold, this latest trilogy rivals the highest highs we've ever experienced since the birth of the web wonder. Exploring a vibrant New York City with Marvel's new darling Miles Morales, we're given a fresh set of eyes in the world of Spider-Man. We can see its influence in the critically acclaimed animation since its debut, such as Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Mitchell's vs. Machines, and TMNT. So let's dive right in and explore what sets Miles apart from his predecessors, and what makes the soon-to-be trilogy among the best, not only in the Spider-Man saga, but films in recent history.
Alright, let's do this one last time.
Miles is unlike most incarnations of Peter Parker. Introduced as a very creative individual, he has a traditional family structure that includes both parents in the household, Jefferson and Rhea Morales, who are huge influences in his life. He has something of a fashion sense with the fresh pair of Jordan 1s, and he has many close friends from his neighborhood. He appears as less of an outsider as Peter, at least at first, only dealing with a similar loneliness when he starts Vision Arts Academy, which we'll get to in a second. But these are just a few areas where the character departs from the classic origins. The writers really understood the assignment when it came to the character of Miles and his background, not in a way that belabors or ham-fists social issues, but with the nuance and complexity deserving of the character. Miles as Spider-Man doesn't have the luxury to be reckless with his powers.
You need to hide your face. You don't tell anyone who you are. No one can know.
Unlike Peter, who has some time to be frivolous and wanting to buy a car to woo his high school crush. Miles is thrust into a situation where he knows the responsibility and accountability that his powers bring, and he has a role model in the now deceased Peter Parker of his universe. But, just like his opportunities at school, he doesn't believe himself worthy of his newfound powers. His academic situation mirrors the journey he takes to Spider-Man.
I would prefer to be at a normal school among the people.
The people? These are your people.
I'm only here because I won that stupid lottery.
No way. You passed the entry test just like everybody else, okay? You have an opportunity here. You want to blow that, huh?
Where a lottery, mirroring the Spider Bite, allows him to attend a prestigious academic program, and his reluctance to believe in himself and his capability lead him to self-sabotage.
If a person wearing a blindfold picked the answers on a true or false quiz at random, do you know what score they would get?
50%?
That's right.
Wait.
The only way to get all the answers wrong is to know which answers are right. You're trying to quit.
Mask.
I never thought I'd be able to do any of this stuff, but I can. Anyone can wear the mask.
Peter Parker has it rough. He's an orphan boy from a poor part of Queens. One half of his only support system is lost with the death of his Uncle Ben. However, Peter is able to don the mask and its responsibilities without questioning if he's worthy of the role or not. It's a given that he is. His lesson is about prioritizing doing the right thing, especially when it's hard and the world doesn't make the right thing easy to do. The conflict is Peter coming to terms with these looming responsibilities as they meddle with all aspects of his life and strain the relationships that he has with his loved ones as well as his personal endeavors. This is partly why the character of Peter Parker is so universally popular. His conflict is one that we can all relate to, where you find out that being an adult is a lot of responsibility and no one knows what they're doing. We're just trying our best to make a difference and learning to forgive ourselves, hopefully, for the missteps that come along the way. Now, juxtaposing this with Miles, who doesn't believe in being worthy in the first place, he shirks from the expectations that are thrust upon him. He doesn't believe that he matches up to them. He sees his universe's Peter die and assumes the responsibility to complete his mission and destroy the Collider. At the same time, he runs away from the scene to escape the villain's grip. He puts on an ill-fitting costume to display his internal struggle with imposter syndrome and show that the mask doesn't fit. He goes to the top of a skyscraper reminiscent of Peter, then rushes back down to a shorter building because he's afraid of making the leap. Contrast this scene with Peter, who rushes from the tallest building that he can find with little reservation. It's just that his ability doesn't match his belief. Another point of departure from Peter is their motivation. It wasn't Uncle Aaron's death that spurred Miles' rite of passage. though it most certainly empowers him. It was a talk with his father right after. Davis gives him a similar message as his uncle and tells him to keep going, not to give up. He shows that everyone else can see the greatness in him, that he just has to see it for himself.
I see this spark in you. It's amazing. It's why I push you, but it's yours. Whatever you choose to do with it, you'll be great.
Having that positive role model in his life pull him up at his lowest is just the motivation that he needs to truly become Spider-Man. Upon hearing these words, does the gift that was hidden come manifest. Miles is able to use his Venom Blast, camouflage, and wall crawl his way back to the home of Aunt May, where he makes Peter A. Parker's suit his own, tagging it to his liking, and it fits well. He goes to the highest skyscraper, the glass around his fingertips shattering as he propels himself forward, displaying anxiety and reservations that he overcomes. A callback to the prior scene where he's unable to de-stick due to anxiety. As he falls, the camera flips, reversing the shot. Miles is rising to the occasion. We even get a little bit of parkour, stylistically setting him apart from the other Spider people. It's a callback to the observation around him preferring to run rather than swing. Miles continues to develop his confidence in himself and defeats the towering Wilson Fisk to save the multiverse. He comes to terms with his abilities and tackles his new role with a newfound vigor. After building this message of anyone being able to wear the mask, it's immediately brought into question by Miguel O'Hara in the sequel, who challenges Miles' existence as Spider-Man. In Across the Spiderverse, the film continues the conversation of what it means to be Spider-Man, but in a much more self-referential way. The opening scene is with Gwen in combat against a classically designed version of the Vulture, whose appearance mirrors a Da Vinci sketch. This battle is a foundational foreshadow of the critique posed by Chris Miller and Phil Lord, who use Miles to diverge from Spider canon. As the aerial combat takes him past Jeff Koons' Balloon Dogs, the Vulture comments in confusion to this new art.
You call this art?
We're talking about it, aren't we?
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, it's more of a meta commentary on what we call art, but it's also art.
Similar to how Spider-Verse's animation has created a new dynamic and example for the industry.
We were sort of building the track as the train was rolling. We were inventing technology that would support the creativity of this film and the artistry of this film.
Going a little deeper into the metaphor though, this fight sets the stage for the thematic crux of the film. That the old needs to make way for the new. That the canon elements of the Spider-Man ethos need to be examined and displayed differently for audiences to continue to grow with the character. We find Miles in Across the Spider-Verse experience success as Spider-Man. He's a calm, charismatic, and confident individual now. However, we're shown very quickly that Miles is still continuing his coming-of-age story in the sequel.
My mustache came in. And out. I made another mistake.
Switching to the conflict between him and his parents. That the spider life, as it always does, is now wedging itself between them.
How much longer can I keep lying about who I really am?
As Miles becomes adamant in his convictions, his parents must deal with letting their boy face the world by himself, and trust that they raised him well enough that he'll stay true.
He never doubts that he is loved, and he never lets anyone at those big fancy places he's gonna be in tell him that he doesn't belong there.
Rio describes what the world has in wait for Miles, who still doesn't understand until the moment's made clear. She sees what those rooms that he's going to be competing in look like, with Miles being a brilliant but less represented person in a room that he belongs in. She hopes that that doesn't make him question his place in the world. What Miles needs to learn is that he can rely on himself, where he comes from, and his support system to help him get through those times. But he has to take the step to trust them.
Get it if I told them?
We love you and accept you even though you have been lying to us for a year.
Maybe in some other universe.
At the moment, it's apparent that Miles still relies heavily on finding his multi-dimensional spider friends, and because of the loneliness of being Spider-Man and the secrets that he has to keep from his loved ones, he's unable to move past them.
Sometimes I just wish I wasn't the only one. I don't dwell on it.
When Miles has the opportunity to join a group of spider people, he jumps at the chance, assuming he'll feel even more at home. However, it's quite the opposite experience for him. Treated as an outsider amongst his comrades, it's later revealed that it's due to him being considered a glitch Spider-Man. The devastating rejection of Spider Society when he's told his entire existence is a glitch, The original glitch, in fact, explains why even his closest companions from his origin story were treating him as an other. He was not meant to be Spider-Man in the eyes of Miguel and company. And the fact that this goes directly against what Spider-Man stands for, and the message that anyone can wear a mask that's developed in the first film, is a callback to Rio's talk with Miles. Instead, the Spider Society have all resigned themselves to a morbid fatalism where personal casualties can be calculated. Even Gwen, who Miles relates with the most, has given up on saving her father, who's fated to be killed in the line of duty. This might even make her life easier, somewhat pragmatically, having struggled with alter egos before the departure from her dimension. This is a really twisted take on the phrase "with great power comes great responsibility," as though they must accept the death of innocent family members. Really, the creators of the film are asking us, why do they need to die? In the same way that the exhibits in the Guggenheim are full of art critiquing art. It reminds me of the Mephisto debacle where Peter signs a deal with the devil so that Marvel can retcon his marriage and bring Peter back to his single, struggling photographer life. If anything, Peter B. Parker and his daughter May are showing us exactly how exciting it can be to depict these other versions of Peter on screen. Even in Tom Holland's Spider-Man, he ends his run with Peter in a dilapidated apartment, single and struggling, because that's the way that we like our Peter Parker. Studios don't trust that the audience wants to see something different, and we haven't given them a reason to, until Miles.
One keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Miles is the only Spider-Man that maintains the true spirit of the character, that Spider-Man is for the people, a friendly neighborhood web-slinger that always does what's right. He follows his gut, or spider sense, and does his best to save everyone, even when the odds are low. Everyone's deserving of a chance. In this sense, Miles is a fully realized Spider-Man with no more reservations as to his place in the universe of web-slingers. He's a beacon of what diverging from a well-worn path of tragedy means.
I wanted to be with you guys so badly. But this thing isn't what I thought it was.
Look, bad things are gonna happen. It makes us who we are.
Now let them have it, Mom. I beat them all. I know how strong I am now.
The fact that Miles became Spider-Man and didn't cause his universe to crumble points to a twist in the upcoming film. More than likely that Miguel O'Hara is lying about the canon events in a way to control Spider Society.
And all this time, I have been the only one holding it all together.
Miguel, go easy on him!
You don't belong here. You never did.
The use of Miles' double, who now dons a Prowler costume, is a great way again to show that anyone can wear the mask. I won't be surprised if the Prowler takes on the mantle of Spider-Man like it did in prior depictions of the comic books.
No, Miles. I'm sorry. I wanted you to look up to me. I let you down.
With stellar animation, a banging soundtrack that melds with the scenery, and a timeless story combined to make a classic entry into the superhero genre, I'm going into this one a little bit biased because I remember buying the first issue of Miles' debut Ultimate comic, which I still have. It was the first comic I ever bought for myself, and it was really the first time I could see myself under the mask. I honestly believe that could have been Miles Morales.
That somebody's kid was watching the movie and turned to them and said, "He looks like me," or "They speak Spanish like us. We feel like we already won."
Ultimately, Spiderverse and its main character have allowed us to experience the story of Spider-Man in a way that's familiar, yet still refreshing, through excellent storytelling and an examination of what it means to not only wear the web mask, but wear it well. It shows us that breaking the mold in terms of not only animation, but canon and its expectations are something to be sought after, just like Miles realized at the end of the film. That is what will create a lasting memory in audiences, ushering in a character that doesn't bend the knee to fate or test room reactions, but instead treads new ground for us to see his story unfold. The creators of Spider-Verse chose to take the road less traveled, and it's made a world of difference.
Waking up, feeling like the thankful one. Count up my ones, lacing up my favorite ones.
You have money, right? I'm not very liquid right now.
I want to thank you all who stayed tuned in. I hope you can give me a like, subscribe, and comment if you appreciated anything about this video. Feel free to explore my channel more for other essays. If you're so inclined, my Patreon is set up now to help the channel grow. And as always, thank you for watching.